Hello, and welcome to another episode of our webinar that is dedicated to hyperpigmentation and ingredients that you could use to solve for your specific concerns. I've struggled with hyperpigmentation all my life, whether it was because of sun exposure when I was much younger or now because of hormones. The struggle continues. And so I've put together a list of ingredients that I use, as well as thinking about how one could create a routine out of them to help solve for hyperpigmentation. I have a PhD in bioengineering, and I have done research in skin care and skin health for the past decade of my life in organizations such as Caltech and Google Health for the significant portion of my career. So welcome, and let's go deeper into ingredients and layering for hyperpigmentation. So let's go over briefly what we covered in our part one of the series. I will use the term hyperpigmentation ad nauseum as a catch-all term for excess pigmentation in the skin, including freckles, melasma, PIH, and dark spots. This does not encompass moles, which are different. This is also different from redness, which is a whole other webinar series. So speaking about hyperpigmentation requires some sensitivity to very real issues around it, including cultural implications. This post is not really intended to moralize hyperpigmentation, nor is it intended to alienate the normal melanization of skin across various tones. Hyperpigmentation refers to excess melanin production on the skin in the form of spots that are darker than the surrounding skin. It's not bad or wrong, nor does it speak to anyone not doing a good enough job or taking care of themselves. I do repeat myself a few times in here, but this is mostly for people who are joining in at a later time, and I don't want them to miss out. As I mentioned, I have decades of experience in looking at skin health and skin care. I'm a bioengineer by training with a PhD from Caltech, and personally struggled with hyperpigmentation all my life. So let's go into a little bit more detail on what we can and cannot do to help solve for hyperpigmentation. So let's first try to understand what are the different types of hyperpigmentation. As I mentioned, it refers to excess melanin production in the skin, but it can actually take a couple of different forms. Knowing the type of hyperpigmentation you're experiencing is key to understanding if and how it can be treated. Freckles. Freckles are incredibly common, right? Especially for people with lighter skin tones. They're small brown or reddish brown dots, often clustered on the skin. Now they develop on the surface and are not really raised bumps. Freckles can appear anywhere on the body, but are more common on the face. These are permanent, but the color, contrast, and severity can vary and be tempered. Melasma. Now, melasma appears as dark patches or splotches around the skin, though usually found on the forehead, upper lip, or high on the cheekbones. Forms deeper into the skin and appears more amorphous than freckles, moles, or even age spots. It can create a muddy appearance and is very common amongst pregnant and postpartum women due to hormonal factors. But it really can happen to anyone or anywhere on the body. Post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, or PIH. PIH occurs when damaged skin forms melanin during the healing process, leaving dark spots. Now, this is common after acne, injuries, eczema, burns, or any other trauma to the skin. Exposure to UV rays during healing can really make the PIH worse. Post-inflammatory erythema is similar, but leaves pink or red spots on the skin as a result of damage to the capillaries from injury or inflammation. Basically, when skin is compromised by injury as part of the immune response, cells will begin to generate melanin in an attempt to prevent further damage from UV exposure. So this will happen in wound, lesion, blemish will heal, but the pigmented skin remains. The final kind is age spots. Now, this is a kind of forgotten form of hyperpigmentation. Sunspots, also referred to as liver spots, and solar letingens are large spots or patches of dark skin with distinct borders. They vary in color from light brown to almost black. They develop on the surface of the skin, usually later in life. but reflect damage that often occurred from improper sun protection at a younger age. They can appear on the face, neck, chest, hands, and arms, usually on areas that had UV exposure. For many people, they can begin to appear in their 30s or 40s. Reasons that one could get it. One is genetics. Of course, this plays a huge role in melanin production. You could have genetic anomalies. There could be enzymes and genes that cause hyperpigmentation. There's sun exposure, which is more common. Hormonal effects as you age. This can be very different. And inflammation, injury, and trauma, as we discussed, could also cause different levels of hyperpigmentation. Now, the one that's often ignored is the medication side effects. Right, whether it is antibiotics or NSAIDs or chemotherapy drugs, and even some hormonal medications, all of this can cause hyperpigmentation. So it's very important to understand what is the root cause of your skin pigmentation or hyperpigmentation. Last week, we also discussed about the ingredients one could use. If you missed that, it is live on our website. You could go check out the video anytime you need to. The ingredients that we talked about last time included retinoids, SPF, arbutin, tranexamic acid, kojic acid, azelaic acid, niacinamide, vitamin C, glycolic acid or lactic acid, licorice root extract, and soy proteins. One could use any and all of these to help alleviate some causes of hyperpigmentation. So this week, we're going to talk a little bit more about the routine and the recommendations for you specifically. Now, of course, this is adapted from numerous comments, posts, and requests that we have had personally. And so this is going to be my own personal routine and recommendation that I would like to provide. Now, this is a generalist routine, right? Meaning that it would target all forms of hyperpigmentation that I mentioned before, whether it is freckles or melasma or PIH or age spots. But if you need to be addressed individually, please let us know at info@iuno.bio, and we'd be happy to get in touch with you to help you tailor your routine. But before we get started, I have a few caveats, right? One, freckles cannot really be 100% eradicated. You can reduce their appearance and prevent them from getting darker, but it is necessary to have reasonable and realistic goals when it comes to genetics. This routine and any hyperpigmentation routine will not address moles. Moles are a completely different thing that can only be eradicated through removal by a medical practitioner. Moles can be raised or not, but no amount of topicals will really get rid of them. Melasma is a beast. Sometimes it can be treated with OTC topicals, sometimes it requires prescription strength topicals like hydroquinone, and sometimes you need in-office procedures like fractal lasers or IPL. Again, this routine is a jumping off point to see what you can accomplish at home before going down that road. Now, I won't mention any products with all the ingredients listed above, because the more you put products on your face, the greater your risk at causing irritation. So you need to understand what layering is and how it could impact your skin journey. All right, so let's get into it. So the AM routine or your morning routine, it's all about, your goal here is all about heal, protect, and prevent. Now, in order of application, following a lukewarm rinse, you could use azelaic acid, alpha-arbutin, vitamin C serum, moisturizer, and SPF. The combination of vitamin C, azelaic acid, alpha-arbutin, and SPF is an absolute powerhouse for healing existing hyperpigmentation and preventing new hyperpigmentation from forming. It makes your SPF more effective. It inhibits the production of melanin from UV exposure. Not your natural melanin production though, and it really speeds cell turnover with dual antioxidant action and gentle chemical exfoliation. Now, with a few months of consistent use, this will really result in brighter skin. For azelaic acid, this is an ingredient for serious treatment. It's considered one of the most effective ways to reverse melasma, also known as serious hyperpigmentation, short of hydroquinone, which is both controversial and hard to get. It brings a little bit of exfoliation to the table in addition to inhibiting UV melanin production, but it also has a slight antiseptic property which can help with acne. So for alpha-arbutin, there are plenty of formulations that are quite solid, including Ayuno's the redness repair serum or even the brightness serum. And this, along with the stability of vitamin C, is a great option to use. But when alpha-arbutin and a component of hyaluronic acid, like sodium hyaluronate, that is in Ayuno's ampule, it really provides the gentle exfoliation that your skin needs and encourages the alpha-arbutin to go deeper into your skin where it's more effective. And the sodium hyaluronate keeps your skin moist and helps improve your skin barrier. So a combination of alpha-arbutin with sodium hyaluronate is a godsend, at least for me. For vitamin C, there's multiple options on the market, but really anything that has a pH of around 3.1 to 3.3 is really effective vitamin C. So pH here is very important. And one way to use vitamin C would be to wash your face, let it dry so your skin comes back to its normal pH, and then apply vitamin C. That's the best way to keep it active. Now, to top this all off, you have to absolutely use SPF. Now, SPF, depending on how much time you spend outside, SPF 50 can be amazing. There's lots of options on the market. I specifically like anything that is Korean made because it's a little bit more elegant and it doesn't leave a white cast, especially for people with brown skin. White cast in sunscreens can be really, really annoying. And so a lot of Korean skincare products have a much more elegant formulation that doesn't leave a white cast. So that was your morning routine, right? Of course, you would follow it up with any kind of makeup that you might like. Now let's go to the PM routine. The PM routine the goal is to renew and reveal. Right? In order of application, you first cleanse. This is the biggest mistake I see people make. They do not wash off their makeup at the end of the day. Don't sleep in that dirt, right? Remove your makeup, cleanse, you buffer your skin, you apply an exfoliant or a retinoid, and you moisturize. That's it. Your goal is to renew and reveal. You cleanse, you buffer, you apply an exfoliant, and you moisturize. Cleanser is a very personal choice. There's lots of cleansers out there, and anything that is gentle on your skin is something that I would highly recommend. Now for your buffer, this is an important step that can be done prior to using a chemical exfoliant or retinoid. Applying an occlusive that'll block the active from more sensitive skin, right? I recommend buffering around your eyes and nostrils because it kind of doubles up as a nice eye cream as well. But you could also use some examples of this. Could be a very basic Vaseline if you don't break out from it, of course. Now, tranexamic acid is another exfoliant that one could use with kojic acid and glycolic acid. It's like a fancy salicylic acid. It both reveals new skin cells that are less prone to pigmentation from UV exposure while removing away any of your old skin cells. You could typically use this 2 to 3 nights per week. On your off nights, we just cleanse and moisturize. Now, retinoids, if you can get a prescription tretinoin, this is going to be your best bet, right? Otherwise, there are some OTC options available which have retinols in them. Now, these would be weaker, but based on where you are in your skin journey or your life journey, this could be sufficient, especially if you're using this as a preventative measure. I would underline the fact that you cannot use tranexamic acid and retinoids on the same night. you'll end up nuking your skin, right? For the most people, both aren't really necessary. You can get away with using one or the other. So for example, for me, I prefer tranexamic acid because I deal with more hyperpigmentation, and fine lines is not really an issue for me yet. But tranexamic acid with its gentle exfoliation does the job for me to keep skin cells, young and happy. And then on top of that, you apply your moisturizer, right? So it's either tranexamic acid or retinoid and topping it with a moisturizer. Now, people ask, can you slug over actives? You could, but I would recommend not, because the actives really are very strong, right? They're concentrated chemicals that are on your skin, and so you want your skin to be able to breathe. So slugging it refers to an occlusive layer that goes on top of your skin, and while you could do this on hydration nights, it really should be done on nights when you're not using a chemical exfoliant or retinoid, because it can really cause irritation and breakouts by increasing the local concentration of these actives on your skin. So that's what we have for different layering techniques. So just to iterate, your morning routine, your goal is all about healing, protecting, and preventing. So you start with a warm water rinse. You apply azelaic acid, alpha arbutin, and vitamin C serum. Top it with moisturizer and SPF. Your night routine is to renew and reveal. So you cleanse, you add a buffer, you add tranexamic acid or a retinoid, and you moisturize. Now that is it for layering products on your skin. So we just talked about layering for your morning routine and your evening routine, the different actives that can be helpful for hyperpigmentation. Now I'd like to address a couple of questions that came our way before we put together this webinar. The first one was about skin cycling. Now, where does skin cycling end up in all of this, right? Skin cycling is a concept where you add actives in a different rhythm based on what your skin actually needs. Now, this one is tricky, and most people who do this are very well versed with their skin. They understand their skin's needs, and they understand what are the actives that can go well together and which may not work very well together. So if in case there is any confusion here, Ayuno has a fantastic product that provides complete care over a 28-day period, right? You start off with a cycling of moisturizing, and then you do a repair section, you do a brightening and an anti-aging, and complete it with moisturizing again. So if it is complicated, which it can be, check out the Complete Care Kit at ayuno.bio, and I can drop a link here on the comments. And it's a fantastic way to get started with your skin cycling. Another question we get is about slugging. Now, what is slugging? First of all, slugging is adding an occlusive like Vaseline or Aquaphor onto your skin and leaving it there overnight. What this does is keeps the moisture, the hydration in your skin concentrated, and so you wake up with softer, better moisturized skin. Slugging is amazing. Slugging doesn't work for me. I break out when I use something as heavy as Vaseline. So I would recommend people figure out whether Vaseline is good for them, or maybe they try out a slightly stronger moisturizer for their skin. When you're using actives, slugging can be very challenging, and I would recommend not to do that, because actives are very potent molecules that are interacting with your skin overnight, right? And if you add an occlusive like Vaseline on top of it, this can increase the concentration near the skin, and your skin is not really able to breathe, which can lead to a lot of irritation and redness, and might put you off actives completely. So I would recommend not slug while you use actives. And if needed, just use a light moisturizer on top of your actives and not Slug. Thank you for joining us today to discuss layering of ingredients for hyperpigmentation. We would welcome you to check out our website, ayuno.bio, to understand a little bit more about hyperpigmentation. And if there's any confusion on how to use serums or how to layer these actives, some of our kits that we have created will work especially well for you. And if you have any more questions beyond that, feel free to reach out at info@ayuno.bio or leave a comment below and we'll get back to you soon. Thank you. And join us again next week.